love for you to share a little bit personally about your own transformation and journey, because I think that would be really interesting for a lot of the women who are listening to hear.
Oh my God, absolutely. How long do we have? Like, I have a short version and then a longer version and then a really long version. I'll try to be succinct. You know, here, like I just actually had a 3-day event and I told my story as a fairy tale, you know, like almost like Cinderella, because, you know, it was almost that feeling that I had, you know, going through it. And I look back, I'm like, did that really happen? You know, and those of you out there who've been through like a divorce or a breakup after a long relationship, it's almost surreal as you're getting out of it into this new world. And that's what happened. You know, I lived in Chicago and I was married. I had that kind of leave it to Beaver, what I thought life with the kids and the picket fence and the dog. And I practiced as a therapist for many, many years. And really, if you knew me then, you would say, okay, her life is going along as planned. Like, really, I thought that was my life. But then I picked up and I moved to LA. And I'm joking. Like, I always say, oh, I did what all the other people in LA did. We got a divorce. But obviously, there were other issues going on, right, in the story. Right. And you know, there I was. And it was almost like I had come to this fork in the road in my life. And at that moment, if anyone had come to me wanting help, me being the therapist, I would have said, you think you have it bad? Let me go on the couch and tell you about my problems, because I was in no condition to help anybody. I mean, I think I stayed in bed for a very long time. Mm. And then one day I got out of bed. That's really what happened. You know, you have choices. You could keep sleeping and you could keep avoiding, or you could do something with your life and get out of bed. So I did. And the first thing that happened is I realized my body had changed. Like, I looked in my closet. I had a closet filled of like oversized black clothes, maternity clothes, nursing bras, Birkenstocks. Like, I don't think that's too sexy going out there trying to attract not only a new man in my life, but new opportunity and a new career and all that stuff. So I went shopping. To be honest, I went shopping and I had to get new clothes. And this woman brings me this red dress. I'll never forget it. She holds it up and she's like, try this on. And I looked at her. I said, you know, that's so sweet. But first of all, it's not me. And second of all, that's 3 sizes too small. And she looked at me and she says, that is you, and that is your size. So I slipped it on. I looked in the mirror and I just remember staring. I just remember staring at myself and being like, who is this new person? And you know what? She was right. It did fit me, but I had to wear it for a little bit to really believe it. Mm-hmm. And I had to wear it for a little bit to really understand that this was me. And when I walked out into the world in my new costume, the attention I got from new suitors and, you know, people who actually started knocking on my door with opportunity, the magic wasn't in just the dress, right? It was within me, but I had to really wear it to believe it. And so the symbiotic relationship that I soon discovered between the outer and the inner was so powerful. I saw something there. And I said, you know what? There's something to this. You know, I started doing makeovers on friends and family, and I saw the value in it, and that people would start transforming before me in one shopping spree, in one wing girl session, way faster than just years in therapy, that people would just sit and talk and not do anything about it, right? What I love doing what I do, and I think this is why the passion happened with the kind of props that I use, you know, whether it be shopping or, you know, working with people out in the field, if you will, is that it puts people in an action state, right? It's a vehicle for change. It's one thing to think it and talk it. It's another thing of doing it. So my whole philosophy with everything that I do is show me, don't tell me. And that's kind of my story. And, you know, the rest you heard about, but that it was something that I discovered about myself, and the confidence that grew within me, that I really just am so passionate about with others and help, you know, just both men and women with. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kim. I'm really, really appreciative of you sharing a little bit of your story. And, you know, one of the things that I'd like to talk about a little bit here is something that you brought up, and that is the connection or the symbiotic relationship between what's going on the inside and what's going on the outside, and how those really interplay with each other, so to speak. Because I think there's oftentimes a disconnect. We don't always recognize how these things actually work together. Maybe we're focusing too much on one and neglecting the other, or vice versa, right?
Completely. And you know what? We can't see ourselves. I mean, nobody can, right? And so I love being people's eyes so that I can really help them understand how they're walking into the world. You know, I guess a beautiful example of this was I was working with this woman, and she had done a lot of inner work. Okay. She'd been years in therapy. She was in this long program that, you know, she was honestly, on the inside, she was reprogramming herself. She really was. And I believe that she had worked through some of the stuff that was blocking her from old baggage, old relationships, old patterns, that kind of thing. But she wasn't progressing in ways that when she was actually going out in the world, guys weren't approaching her. She couldn't get dates. And so, you know, I told her, I get that you've been in therapy forever, and that's great, and you've been in a program. Let's go. I want to see what you got, kind of thing. And so we met at a bar, and she shows up in this like kind of corporate suit with this turtleneck with low shoes, her hair unkempt, and like, you know, not even lip gloss on. And so she tells me, and she's like, see, I think I'm approachable. She told me that her self-assessment was that she was approachable because she had done all this inner work. I said, honey, you're not at all approachable. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm looking at a woman who is completely closed off in her clothes. You know, so even the turtleneck and everything was very like kind of closed, and it wasn't even right for her body type. She was also dressing very masculine. Okay. So she had come right from work. So she was also in her masculine energy, and her body language really almost read like, don't approach me. She wasn't making eye contact. She wasn't smiling. She was just kind of sitting there waiting for a guy to approach her. So to your point and your question about the outer and the inner, it wasn't until I helped her understand and feel by taking off her corporate jacket, letting her hair down. We put a little lip gloss. I mean, we didn't have time to go shopping in that moment, but we worked with what she had, and it just kind of opened herself up. Just little tweaks here and there. I told her to start making eye contact. We started laughing and giggling and having just this kind of fun energy about us. By the end of the night, we had groups of guys around us. And it wasn't, again, because she had done all this long, hard work on herself on the inside only. She had to open up herself and break some barriers and challenges that were happening on the outside. And from that moment on, she soon realized she needed to get a new wardrobe. She needed to pay attention to some of these things. And it was like a domino effect. And pretty soon she was way more mindful when she was going out to give herself a break between her corporate self and her flirty self, by her clothes, by like giving herself like a fun break to date prep. I teach people how to date prep before they go out. And because of that, she got tremendous results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously she's going to feel more confident about herself when she's able to express a little bit more femininity, dress in a way that makes her feel a little bit more attractive, even though it's interesting that you brought up that she viewed herself as being approachable. And I think you said something really key, which is we don't fully see ourselves. We look in the mirror each day, we think we see ourselves very clearly, but we have these blind spots, right?
Completely.
We're not seeing the side view, or heaven forbid, the rear view mirror.
Sometimes I help people see the rear view mirror. I'll be like, your ass looks really good in that. Turn around, look at. You know, I think we don't embrace either our beauty. A lot of times women will come to me and they'll say, you know, if a man doesn't like me for me, then F him, you know, like that. It's more like, I'm not going to change for no man kind of attitude, right?
Right.
And, you know, my kind of statement to them and to any of you who feel that way is it's not about changing who you are. Never is. But it's about packaging yourself in a way that a guy gets to know who you are. It's no different than, you have, if we talk business, and I use this comparison all the time, if you have two business packages, same content underneath, but one's in like a shiny laminated folder and the other one's in a manila folder with like chicken scratch on. The perceived more professional one is the laminated one. So most people are going to choose that. Not that it's better, not that the content is different. We're the same way as human beings. And this is psychology. This is not even me talking. You like just say, oh, just look fabulous and you'll be great because I'm this blonde hair, blue-eyed girl from LA. It has nothing to do with that. The research shows that people make, first impressions and judgments and assumptions based on who you are, based on two things. And it's in the brain. This is all research. It's the attitude that you have and the clothes that you wear. And then that determines what they think who you are. Mm-hmm. And so why not? If you knew that you could increase your dating success 55% just based on your appearance, why not? This is the fun stuff. There's not too many things that you can do that have that like instant gratification. So, putting on clothes that fit a body type better than she knows, or putting on a red lipstick to make herself a little more sexy, There's just little tweaks can actually make huge changes in the scheme of things. And like you said, can increase her confidence because she's getting reinforced for it.
Right.
Certainly that's what happened to me, hands down. People noticed me in the red dress. I got compliments. And because of that, I started owning it. And it just like my confidence started growing, not because of me changing who I was. It was just the way I perceived myself. And so did others.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right when you say so many women don't see their own beauty. They're blind to that. So what you offer is a chance for someone to maybe see that side of themselves too, and as well as those blind spots. So there are a lot of women I know who are listening, though, who are, in they're aging, 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe beyond, and body changes happen, hormonal changes happen. All of a sudden, you might have a lump or a bump or a bulge in a place you didn't have it before.
Been there, done that, yeah.
It's like, how did that happen?
Right.
And so sometimes it's hard to feel confident. And I think a lot of women have this perception that they can't look really good anymore, or they can't still be attractive to a man. And I would love for you just to speak to that a little bit, because I think it would help a lot of women that might struggle a little bit in this area.
I love that you're bringing this up, because this is a big issue that I deal with a lot with women, and I work with women at all ages. And what's funny is that even women in their 20s have these feelings, right? So it's not even an age thing. I think women in particular are very hard on themselves, and they focus on what they don't like rather than what they do. So the first thing that I always look for and help women with is embrace all that they are and find their strengths. And I have them actually tell me the body parts that they love. And then, the things that they want to conceal, I'm mindful of, so that when we are going shopping, I'm teaching them about their body type and showcasing the things that they feel really good about, and learning how to conceal the parts they don't, so that they end up being educated on how to really show up in that confident way, right? And I think the most profound example was actually a recent makeover that I had along this point. She flew in from the East Coast, and I work with people from all over. And this is a woman who could not even walk into the department store without crying. She couldn't even look in the mirror because she did not see how beautiful she was. She really didn't. And she didn't think she could attract a man. She's 55 years old. And she'd been a hermit because of that. She wasn't going out. She didn't think she could be that hot, sexy woman that she sees, on TV or on her younger friends, that kind of thing. And what was so beautiful to see is the transformation that happened within literally probably the first hour that we were in the store, from not being able to look in the mirror to putting on like a really beautiful jacket that showcased her figure, putting on some high heels, picking a color out that really enhanced her skin. And for her to look in that mirror and say, oh my God, I'm beautiful, was was worth it. Like, and she literally, that moment on, she transformed. So much so that by the time she got like in the dressing room, like she didn't even want me in the dressing room with her at first because she was so shamed by her body. She had the door open. She was changing in front of people. She was just like, she felt liberated, right? And then we did a photo shoot, and then she saw herself as beautiful in the photo shoot. That's another thing. You know how you were saying that people can't see themselves in the mirror? There's something about a picture that also helps people see outside themselves that's even different than in the mirror. And so often I do photo shoots with women just to help them, you know, really see themselves as like this gorgeous woman that they are, and in a different way. And, you know, it's profound. And to this day, I mean, this happened maybe 2 months ago, and I saw her at my live event, and she's maintained that level of confidence and actually has gone out and gotten more clothes and tighter clothes that fit her body. And it's awesome to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lovely story. And I just think it's a little glimpse of what is possible. And I think no matter where we're at in life, what body changes we've gone through, what age we're at, you know, what parts we think we don't like or we think are not attractive, there's always something positive to accentuate. And so I love that you start there with that baseline. And it's kind of like with attracting love. If we're focused on what we don't have rather than what we deeply desire and what we want to have, we're more likely to get more of what we don't want. If we focus on the negative aspects of our body or our appearance, that's what we're going to see. And then we tend to try to dress, or at least a lot of women do, try to dress to kind of downplay that and almost become invisible, right?
Yeah, a lot of us, and I know that was true for me, you know, when I first went out there, I was wearing things to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I don't think at the time I knew it, but looking back, I realized I was, because I was scared. Mm-hmm. And I see that happen a lot too. Like if a woman's not feeling good in her body, or she's scared about being seen and having attention onto her, she will literally hide in her clothes, you know, by wearing either baggy stuff or black all the time, even with her nonverbal, you know, and her facials. It's like she's literally hiding by not making eye contact, looking down, doing more of like a closed position. So absolutely, I see that a lot. And what I love about, you know, kind of holding a woman's hand and going out into the field and shopping, women slowly come out of their shell and they realize that they're their own worst enemy. We are our own worst enemy every single time. And I see this true over and over and over again, that what we fear and what we think guys are thinking is usually not true at all. It's usually our own story and is in our head. And then we stop ourselves because we're getting in our own way. And once you let that go and you know all that you are, and you like really, really embrace, you know, who you are and the beauty that you have, that's what men find attractive. Look, men love women who love themselves, hands down. And I know this, ladies, because I work with just as many men as I do women. So I can back it up with evidence. And they all tell me that. It doesn't matter the size. It doesn't matter the shape. It doesn't matter the height, ethnicity. It's really about your confidence and how you move in your body as well. And so I work with women a lot on body language as well as the clothes that they wear.
Mm-hmm. So I'm really glad that you brought up men.
We love men.
Yes, because most of the women here on the call are wanting a relationship or in relationship with men, wanting to have that kind of interaction or partnership in dating or in love or marriage. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about some of the things that you have learned that tend to be attractive to men, you know, for women that are wanting to date and feel more confident about it, things that are attractive to men and things that are not so attractive to men. We might call them men repellent.
Yeah, I love that. I do. I often say there's like kind of, you know, some top secrets that men find sexy. And because I'm always asking men that I work with, they're like, what do you find sexy? What do you enjoy? And I do see a trend and a theme with certain areas. The first one being, and I think I just said that, is really about the body confidence. They love a woman who just feels comfortable in her skin. And this is, kind of the conversation we've been having. The second thing that I hear is they love a woman who's versatile, meaning she can look hot and sexy in her casual clothes and her tank top, and she's comfortable and natural, and then she can get dressed up in a little black dress at night and just rock it, right? And they love that versatility. The other thing that I'd say, and this is, I guess there's a little like smaller conversations within it, is femininity. They love a woman who exudes that femininity. And, femininity is a funny word. And I find that when I ask women to define that, like, what do you define as being feminine? Women have different associations of that. Some women are repelled by that name. Some women had a bad experience around that name. Some women feel that being feminine is dumbing down. I think it's an important conversation to have with yourself, and I would invite all of you. That would be a great exercise, like define femininity and what that means for you. But when you embrace your femininity, and really what it's about is receiving and loving that playfulness and feminine power that you have, and how you carry yourself and show the man that femininity is what they find attractive. You can do that with your clothes. So a lot of men tell me, I've never met a man who didn't like a woman in a dress. Mm-hmm. Hands down. For those women out there who say, well, I don't like dresses aren't for me, or I don't fit in dresses, you need to contact me, because I have worked with every size and shape, and I've always found a dress for a woman. Because often it's the brand, it's the store that you're shopping in. And once you find that right fit, it's so beautiful to have, because men really like that. The other thing they love are shoes. Yeah. Right? They love high heels, hands down. And I know there's a lot of women with feet issues, me included. So I do work with women on, like, if you have bunions or if you have like back issues. I mean, that's something real that you have to pay attention to. But there's certain brands that are therapeutic. There are alternatives to high heels. You can do wedge, you can do something that just gives you a little lift. There's 3 reasons why guys like it that I've determined. One is they love the way your calves look. Yeah. Like your calves get really defined when you have a heel. The second is they love the way you walk. Because if you think about it, you have to slow down your walk when you walk into a room with heels. You're not like shuffling in your flip-flops. It's a different kind of sexiness. And your posture is also better, right? Mm-hmm. The third reason is they don't wear them. I mean, let's face it, dresses, maybe some men wear them, but for the most part, men don't wear heels and they don't wear the dress. So that exudes that femininity, and they love it. They love shiny objects too. They like, the necklace and the little thing. Now, if it's done tastefully, okay? So those are the things they love. Now you ask for the things they don't love. I've been told a lot that they really are not a big fan of a lot of makeup, like caked on makeup, where you look so vastly different that if you were to wash your face and wake up in the morning, you look like a different person. They don't know about MAC. They don't know about, the different brands, Maybelline. They don't care about that. They just know the way that you look, and they like the way that you look. So if it's done in a way that's natural, they like that. But don't be scared to vamp it up at night and do a smoky eye. They think that's sexy too. They just, they don't like when it's caked on. The other thing they don't like is when you're not feeling confident. If you appear almost anxious in your body, if you look self-conscious, if you're scared to just even, show a little skin, that kind of thing of like discomfort and not being confident is not something that's sexy to them. But, if you think about it, that works both ways. right? Like we don't like a guy who's not comfortable in his skin. We like a guy who shows up, who's well dressed. So I always say to women, think of what you like in men usually is true what, they like in us. It's just that we're women. And the final thing is dressing masculine. They really hate the baggy clothes. They don't like a lot of patterns. Ladies, I know that sounds shocking because we like patterns in each other because we think it's pretty, but women often dress for other women. We don't think about what guys like, and guys like simplicity. They like to see your body. It doesn't mean you have to wear tight clothes and have everything hang out. They don't like that either, but they like things that really showcase that figure. So those are some of my little secrets.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing those. And I just have to share a little something here. My husband has coined, the really masculine dressing women who are wearing the very practical shoes, which are oftentimes not very attractive. He calls it the I give up look, right? It's the I give up look.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we can easily slip into that I give up look if we have body shame, we have lack of confidence, if we want to hide, or we're saying, well, I want to be comfortable. Well, I can just tell you, you can be comfortable even if you have shoe issues or body issues or things like that without totally going into the I give up look. And if you want to attract a man, you want to put the best version of yourself out there, like you were talking about the packaging. This is not about you changing yourself on a deep core level or you having to be a supermodel, but it is about you presenting yourself in a way where you can feel proud and good about yourself, and it's more likely to draw in a man because he's going to be able, as Kim said, to be able to see you and then get to know you. If he can't see past the baggy clothes, the frumpy shoes, the I give up look, he never gets to know how amazing you are, right?
Completely. And, along those lines, it really does start with, and this is just the therapist in me, because when I work with people, I do find out about their past and how it's connected to the future and the choices we make and the patterns that get created. And you really need to start with you. It's not about the man. It's really looking at yourself and saying, okay, I'm not liking what I'm attracting, or I am not attracting, the people that I want. Then you have to look at yourself. What can you do differently? And what's your conversation about the fears that you have so that you can attract something different, that you can attract men in your energy field? And if you're, like what you were saying, Michelle, if you're fearing it or if you're hiding, what's that about? Is that something that happened in the past, that's preventing you from moving forward because there's a lot of fear around it? And once you figure out what that is and help, kind of have a conversation about it, moving past that and putting an action plan in place and how you can do that helps. And it doesn't have to be this big thing. It doesn't have to be like getting a whole new wardrobe, or it could be starting with your glasses. If you knew that if you changed your glasses, it would give a little bit sexier image and it would be almost like, glasses are great because they're almost like a piece of jewelry. You can have several glasses. It could be like your statement. It could be your signature style. And just see the impact it has. I was working with this guy and I just did a virtual makeover, and it's this 1-hour Skype session where I do a head to toe assessment. And I teach people about their brands that they should look for, and I look in their closet. And his glasses were all wrong for him. And I gave him recommendation of these like thick rimmed glasses that, would actually give him a little bit of a funky look to him. And actually he went out, he got the glasses. It was the first thing he did. And just because of that small change, women started like popping up from nowhere and like, oh my God, you look so good. And what did you do? Like people couldn't even place their finger on what it is he did. And it all started with the glasses. And so from there, he changed his wardrobe, his attitude started changing, his confidence grew. So I guess that would be my biggest advice to people is start small, because those small changes can really lead to the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we can also, as we age, we can also get kind of time warped, right? We can keep the same style, the same clothes, the same hairstyle, the same makeup as we've had for years and years and decades. And so I think your idea of starting small is really great, because you can start small with something new, something fresh, just a little tweak or a change or an experiment here or there, and just, see how that feels. And that may inspire you, to move forward in a direction that really might be a lot of fun. Because I think we get stuck, right?
Yeah, ladies, this is so fun. I really want to I remember when I first got divorced, and I think, Michelle, you and I were talking about this right before the interview. There's this gloom and doom around divorce, the big D word, oh, poor thing. And oh, my life has ended. It's I got to tell you, my life began. My life began that moment. And I didn't see it at the time, but now that I'm through it, I get it. And this is a time for reinvention. Even if you have never been married, maybe you've never been in a relationship, I want you to think about this time being an opportunity where you can reboot your life, get re-energized. And if that means getting a new piece of jewelry, or if that means getting a new shoe, the energy that gets put into that and the impact that it'll have on viewers and people that will give you feedback, it can really catapult you into that state of change. And this is what I see time and time again. When people do makeovers with me, it's not like I'm doing anything different for them. I'm a guide, and I help them see themselves in a different way. And it instills an energy in them that just completely transforms the way that they were going about life before. And that's it. And so it is. It's an exciting time. This is fun stuff. It gets addicting. I will tell you, because it's a domino effect. You start changing one thing, you're like, well, I'm going to do this, and maybe I'll do this, and it's an exciting time. So I wanted to highlight that, because a lot of times women get down and it's too late for me, or I'm too old, or whatever the excuses or conversation goes on in your head.
Mm-hmm. And I think another thing that we lose track of is the sense of our own power, that we actually can create new possibilities in our lives. And so we get stuck in routines, we get stuck in the time warp, we get stuck in perhaps some negative thinking, or we're in a place of discouragement or depression. And it's amazing how sometimes just one little thing that what we're talking about can give you a lift and a boost, and can start you down this new path of possibility. So I just love what we're talking about here. I think it's really fun. I mean, I love playing around with clothes and makeup and fashion and jewelry and that sort of thing. But I also know, I can also get stuck in the place where I slump around for days in my sweats and ponytail, and I'm not feeling it. And it does feel, I do feel differently depending on how I'm dressed and how I'm caring for myself. And some of those just little things can make me feel so much happier. It can bring joy into my life. So like you said, it's not just about a man. It can bring you a lot of joy.
Well, and it is. And it starts with you, because once you have more energy and you kind of exude that out to the world, that's when the guys start coming too. Focus less on the guy, focus more on you, and they will come. I promise you, I see this all the time and time again. And it actually is a better way of going at things. I work with a lot of caretakers. I don't know if, you kind of, ladies out there, define yourself as that, where we give. And if you're a mom, or if you are in relationships where, even friendships, where you're constantly giving and you're never receiving, like you said, Michelle, cut that pattern out by actually getting selfish. Mm-hmm. Try getting selfish for once in your life and do something for yourself. Because you know what? When you fill yourself up, when you fill the gas tank up, you have the energy to go forward, and you have more to give others. In fact, you'll be a better person to somebody else by filling up your tank first. Mm-hmm. And so it's the only way I can really explain to caretakers to do that, because it feels hard to not, take care of other people. But it's an essential piece to attraction, and especially attracting a right guy. So if you have been in relationships where you're attracting narcissists or man children, or, guys who just suck the life out of you and you're always giving, then you got to take a look at you and what you did to create that dynamic and start showing up in a way where you know that you deserve a man and that you know all that you are and that you really have that self-love. So I love that notion of getting off the hamster wheel, right? Do something different. If you're stuck in that motion, just get off the hamster wheel, take a different route to work, buy a hoop earring, put on a dress, laugh, do something to break that state and that negative pattern that you have for yourself.
So Kim, I want to thank you for all that you've generously shared. It's been so much fun. And I want to give you a chance to just leave us with a last little parting thought or piece of wisdom before we wrap up.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was so fun. Thank you also for having me back. And, I guess the notion of, I guess it would be more of a recap of, change one small thing so that you can make bigger changes in your life, get off the hamster wheel, and love thyself. I think those are the three things that are crucial. And if you gave yourself self-love in different areas, like from the way you dress, for the way you show up in your body, and for the way that you're used to going about doing things. Try those three areas of your life and doing something different, and just see how it feels. See the impact that it has on others and for yourself.
Thank you, Kim. That's a really, really great way to recap of the conversation. And so I'm thrilled to have had you here with us, Kim, and also for all of our guests who are here with us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.